Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this live Teams event. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We know that your time is precious. And firstly, huge apologies for the delay in starting tonight. I'm afraid we just had some technical issues with getting the live Teams event live. But yeah, thank you so much for coming. Now, we are of the understanding that the vast majority of you, if not all of you, have visited Sedge Hill already, so you've heard us speak before and you know quite a lot about the school already. So in this event, we don't propose to talk really about the school. It's primarily an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you don't feel you've had answered yet. And that perhaps even having read through the booklet that we've sent out to you, you still have further questions. So just before we do that, though, I am going to run through some key dates for you. So on the 2nd of June, that is the date by which we must have received your enrolment booklet. So you should have received that. Obviously, if you're on the call and you haven't, then please do then after this let us know. And we need you to bring that back into school for us and drop off at reception, and you need to bring some ID with you as well on that occasion. Just really for your information, not a date that you need to do anything about, but on the 13th of June, that is the date that we have arranged to talk to lots of primary schools, so they will hand over some information to us on that during that time. And then a really key date is the 22nd of June, when we will invite you in to meet with us for a one-to-one interview. So that will be in school. It will be at some point between 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock. If you can't make that date, we can obviously be flexible if you let us know about that in advance. But you will meet with one of the members of the senior team, and that's a good opportunity for us to get to know you and your child a little bit more, and to give you some more information, and again for you to ask questions that you might want to just be talking to one person about. And then on the 4th of July is when your child will come for the secondary transition day. So they will spend the day with us, they will get to know some members of staff, they'll meet some of the students that they're going to be with in September, and that's often it's always a really successful day, and often students leave there feeling a lot more confident about starting in September. So for both of those two dates, on the 22nd and the 4th, we will write to you nearer the time, particularly around the 22nd, with the time that we would like you to come and meet with us. So that's really all I'm going to say. If you have got questions, then please do type them in the chat, and then we're going to use this evening to run through those questions. Anything at all that you want to ask about, we're happy to answer. But I'm going to first hand over to Miss Oregano, who is the Vice Principal, who again will just introduce herself and say a brief word.
Thank you, Miss Cassidy. Yes, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for attending. Just to say welcome to the Sedge Hill family. Please make a note of those key dates, and of course just ask us any questions this evening, or be in touch if you have questions after this evening's event. So if there are any questions, please put them into the chat and we will endeavour to answer them.
We haven't got anything yet, but we realise that sometimes there can be a bit of a delay on Teams. So we're just waiting to see if something comes through.
So just while we're waiting, just to tell you a bit about the 22nd of June, it's a really important evening. Each child with their family will come in and have a one-to-one interview with staff. It's an opportunity to meet staff, ask questions, and we will talk you through uniform and start and end times of the day, and give you key information about starting in September. So we do look forward to meeting all of our families on that evening. So we don't appear to have any questions. We'll just give it a few more minutes. Hopefully everything has been answered in the handbook.
So It doesn't look like anything's coming through from my end, Miss Oregano. Is that the case?
No, on my end. So hopefully that means that everything is nice and clear. As Miss Cassidy said, you've probably already visited us, and hopefully everything is clear in the handbook. Right, so we've got our first question, Miss Cassidy. When will the dates for September be? We presume you mean the start dates.
And they are in the booklets, aren't they, that we have already sent out?
They are in the booklet, they are in the handbook. So just to clarify, I think the start date, Miss Cassidy, it's the 4th of September.
I think so. I'm a bit nervous about saying because I haven't got it in front of me. I just know it is in the booklet.
It will be in the correspondence, and we will go over that in more detail when we meet you on the 22nd. Where can we find the enrolment booklet? So that has been posted to you and it has been emailed to you. If you haven't received that, please contact us at the email address info@sedghillacademy.org.uk with your address and your details, and we will post one for you. That might be because we don't have your details on SAMS. We've got another question, Miss Cassidy. Do you get to choose a friend to be in the same form with? So should I answer
you want
that?
to answer? Yeah.
Yeah. So we tend not to be fair. We think that students, they make friends really quickly at Sedge Hill, and lots of students are in the same position starting at Sedge Hill. So we tend to not allow students to choose a friend to be in the same form with, partly because a fresh start is really important, and also because students will be tested quite quickly when they arrive, and actually they'll be set in their lessons. So in terms of tutor time, students are with their tutor group for quite a small proportion of the day, and in that period of time they will be reading. So actually when they're set, they will be sort of set according to ability. So we won't tend to let children choose friends, because it's a great fresh start for everybody. Got another question.
I was just going to say, before you look at that one, that in terms of the start date in September, like we said, we haven't got it right in front of us, but the other place to look for that is also on our website, which we keep up to date.
Thank you. So I think this is probably a question for me. Can you tell me a little bit more about the SEND provision at school, and will it be possible to meet the SENCO? Yeah, absolutely. I happen to also be the SENCO, so I will be available on the meeting in June, so you can speak to me then. But just to reiterate what Ms. Cassidy said earlier about the 13th of June. So on the 13th of June, myself and the inclusion team will meet with all the primary school inclusion leads. Often that's the SENCO. And we will get a handover of information. So if your child has SEND needs or is on the SEND register at primary school, that information will get passed to ourselves. But just to sort of reassure parents, we do a lot of testing when children arrive as a supportive measure. So children's reading ages will be tested. They'll have what's called a MIGIS test, and that tells us an awful lot about a child's ability and any potential needs, and we use that to decide interventions. But if there's anything specific you want to ask or talk about, do seek me out on the 22nd of June. Another question, Ms. Cassidy, how long is the standard school day?
So students have to arrive by, we say, 8:15, and they're going to be late if they're not here by 8:20. And then the end of the school day in usual lessons is at 3:05. However, there will be days when we will ask students and expect students to stay until at least 4:05, because at the moment there's one day a week then they have to stay to do their homework in what we call prep. So that we find that if we do that, we can teach them how to do homework and really induct them into that. But lots of students will also stay till 4:05 so that they can take part in the clubs that we offer. So 3:05 is the formal end of the day, but there will be at least one day a week when we ask them to stay till 4:05, and lots of students will want to stay longer for clubs as well.
We have another question. What will happen if a child gets bullied at the academy? So I can answer that. So we would ask, your first point of contact is your child's head of year. Obviously, I think in any secondary school, you could never 100% guarantee that children won't be unkind to each other. We have an anti-bullying policy. We're very good at communicating with parents and asking them to be in touch. So It's difficult to give a blanket answer to that, but we would ask you to contact your child's head of year, and dependent on the issue, we would take it from there. That might mean speaking to the child, speaking to other children. We practice restorative justice conversations here, so we try to get students to work through any issues. But generally, children are very happy here, and bullying is at a minimum. Do you have sets? Sorry, Ms. Cassidy, do you want to add?
Yeah, I'll take the next one. So do we have sets or streams for maths and English? So what happens is that during the first week of the term, Year 7 students will take 4 tests. Please don't be alarmed. They do these very easily. It's just in the course of a lesson. So we do what's called a Midges test, which is a little bit like a grammar school test. It's verbal reasoning, but they do it on the computer. They do a reading test, so we know what their chronological reading age is, and they do a maths baseline test and an English baseline test. Those maths and English tests are set by our United Learning subject advisors, which means that actually in every single United Learning school, the Year 7 students are taking the same test, and that's really useful for us so we can benchmark and measure progress over the time that they're with us. Once those 4 tests are done, we will put them into sets. So they will be in sets for maths and English. There will be 7 groups for maths and 7 groups for English. And the sets are obviously different for different subjects. So you might be in set 1 for maths, you could be in set 2 for English. And then they will be movement between groups happens twice a year after students have taken their 2 sets of examinations each year.
We have another question about clubs and what's on offer in Year 7. So each year the offer is really different, but we have lots of sports clubs. We have football, we have netball, we have basketball. We actually have a basketball academy here now. We have a drama club, an art club, a textiles club, a homework club, a chess club. So our actual extracurricular offer is on our website. So please do look on our website to see what's on offer to all students. And again, we will talk to you a bit more about that. We do expect children to sign up for a club as part of their kind of after school offer. We've got one last question, which is, will students be with other year groups in lessons? So that's a no. So children stay in their year group. So they will be with other students in their year group, but not with other years. And I think that's all of our questions.
Lovely. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I hope that's been useful. Certainly a good opportunity for you to ask questions. So we are really looking forward to meeting you in the summer term. But if anything does come up between now and then please use our info@ email address, and we will endeavour to get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your evening.